Hello and welcome to All Things Airgun. I'm Donnie Reed, and I apologize for the sound of the furnace and the water heater down in my illustrious basement studio here. But today we're going to do a full review of the Hatsan 200S carbine in 22 caliber. This is a rifle, well, carbine, whatever, rifle that was provided to me by a viewer for review. He purchased this rifle for himself, but sent it to me to test and review first. And now that I'm finished with it, I'll send it to him. And what does he get out of this? He gets the rifle chronograph tested with a number of pellets, accuracy tested, broke it in, gone over with a fine-tooth comb, trigger adjusted, things like that, and basically set up. And also the community gets the benefit of a completely unbiased review. This is not my rifle, so I don't love it. You know, it's not, I have no emotional attachment to this. This also isn't provided by the airgun industry, so I don't, owe anybody. Not that, I'm not trying to say anything, but all I'm saying is this wasn't provided by the airgun industry. This was provided by the airgun community. So this review is completely as unbiased as you can get. Now, having said all that, I greatly appreciate what he did. Some other viewers have done the same. They've sent me products and rifles for review, and I'll be getting to that in the coming weeks. But I thank everybody. I've actually launched allthingsairgun.com, where if you would like to learn a little bit more about All Things Airgun, learn about our Facebook group, and there's also a little thing where you can leave me a message, and there's a link for a PayPal if you would like to donate to the channel. We would like to keep this a community funded channel where you get a completely unbiased review because of it. Now I'm very thankful again, like I said. Now to get on with the review here, this is a single shot metal coil spring piston powered fixed barrel underlever carbine length air rifle. The overall length is 43¼ inches. The barrel itself is 15¾ inches. This rifle by itself weighs 9.7 pounds. That's without a scope or anything else. It comes with a sling, and it has sling swivels already installed, and it has spacers to change out for the pull length. I have it with the stock one, and it's fine. Now, before I get into my lengthy commentary on the rifle, I'll do a close-up presentation of the basic features of the rifle. So let's take a look at that. Okay guys, I'm going to apologize in advance for any noise from the furnace or water heater down here in my illustrious basement studio. And I'm going to try to use the tripod here as much as possible. But what you're looking at right here is a thread protector. This muzzle is threaded, but there is no moderator of any sort on this rifle. And then here's our cocking lever and our little retention plunger here. And it stays in there very well. The muzzle protector though, thread protector, it has an O-ring that helps to hold it on, but you will want to Loctite it or else it'll come loose, I promise. Here we have the breech. The advertisement for the shock absorption system and the Quattro trigger. It's kind of, nice looking profile to it. Back here we have the anti-bear trap mechanism. These gray areas are rubber inserts. It's a black synthetic stock, but these are different, softer rubber. And I'll talk more about the stock later. The scope I put on it is a cheapy 3-to-9 by 40 combo scope with a one-piece mount. Now this rail is a combination Weaver Picatinny with limited rail spaces, slots. It has limited slots. And it's also a combination 11mm rail with scope stop detents back here. This is this scope mount has a scope stop, and it's in the rearmost detent of the rail. The Quattro trigger isn't bad. It's adjustable for length and for pull weight. I have it adjusted for the lightest pull and the shortest length with the mildest first stage. It is a true first stage. It is a true two-stage trigger. And the stock, the comb, the cheek comb here, is adjustable. You use these two screws. You can adjust this up and down. I like it all the way down, but whatever, you can put it wherever you want. Now let me switch to the other side of the rifle here. And over here you will see generally the same thing, but worthy of note is the sling swivel studs. See here, and there's another one right here. And it does come with a sling. It says Hatsan on it real big. But sorry, I'm not good with the zoom on this camera. That's about it. It's a good looking rifle. It's a carbine length. It is 9.7 pounds. I'll talk more about it in the commentary. I just wanted to show you the close-up features here. And I'm dumb enough that I almost forgot the safety. The safety is right here. Here we go with the zoom again. There we go. Right there. You push in for safe, pull out to fire. And it's a little chintzy, it's plastic, it wiggles around, but it works. I don't like the position where the, see how it's right under the scope? So when you're in position here, see what I mean? My thumb just barely makes it in here. So to use it is a little awkward. Okay, now I didn't mean to, go off on a tangent there. I'll get to the commentary later. But right now, let's talk about the pellets and the chronograph testing. This rifle is advertised by Hatsan at 750 feet per second. I have seen it advertised at other places at 800 feet per second. Hatsan lists their velocities with lead pellets. So assuming the 11.9 grain hobby pellet is what they used, like I said, and their number is 755 or 750 feet per second. This rifle exceeds that with an average of 755.7 feet per second with the RWS hobby pellet. Now with all the other ones I tested, the range and the energy was roughly 13 to 16 foot-pounds, a little over 16 foot-pounds. The most accurate pellet out of this rifle is the H&N Barracuda Hunter, at least outside in the elements. The Hatsan Vortex Supreme was close, at least indoors, But when I got to the outdoor 25 and 50 yard testing, the heavier H&N Barracuda Hunter, even though it's a hollow point, was the most accurate pellet out of this rifle. And that's saying something. We'll get to that. When it comes to hunting, however, I also did a video on the H&N Barracuda Hunter pellet just recently, and I used this rifle as part of the testing. And at 10 yards, this rifle doesn't really have enough energy to utilize the expansion feature of the Barracuda Hunter. It did expand in ideal conditions straight into water, but it didn't even make it to 25 caliber, I don't think. So you're not going to get a lot of expansion by using the Barracuda Hunter out of this rifle, but what you will get is the ability to put a pellet absolutely anywhere you want it to go, and we'll get to that later. But if you wanted something a little more deadly, Barracuda Hunter puts out 16.6 foot-pounds, or 16.65 foot-pounds of muzzle energy here. Almost equally as accurate were the H&N Terminator and the H&N Hornet. And both of those, for one, the Terminator is deadly. It's going to expand even down at the velocities and energies of this rifle. And the Hornet is, it's an armor-piercing pellet, more or less. So if you were shooting something in the skull, use the Hornet. If you're shooting rats, I'd use the Terminator, if you want the ultimate in accuracy for long range, whatever, the Barracuda Hunter. The Terminator was 16.3 foot-pounds of muzzle energy out of this, and the Hornet was 16.6 foot-pounds. But we'll take a look. I tested a bunch of pellets. I'll put up the Chronograph graph, whatever the hell it is, database thing, Excel spreadsheet thing. I'll put that up for you for a few seconds. You can pause it if you want to take a better look at it. Okay, now let's get to the accuracy, the bread and butter here. The close range accuracy testing I did indoors at 10 yards, and I'm using the Hatsan Vortex Supreme 14.66 grain 5.53 millimeter head sized domed pellet, and you'll see the group I get out of that. Now, like I said, I did a video testing the H&N Barracuda Hunter video and used this rifle, and I won't spoil it, I'll let you watch, but I got a group of an equal size with the Barracuda Hunter indoor at 10 yards. And like I said, when I got outdoors, the heavier Barracuda Hunter was the most accurate pellet. So I used it for the 25 and 50, but for the 10 yard here, it's the Hatsan Vortex Supreme. Well, guys, I don't know how much better you can get than that. That's, I don't even know how many shots. This is 3 shots of HN Field Target Trophy, 14.66 grain, 5.54 millimeter head. This is at least 10 shots of the H&N Vortex. Vortex Supreme. They're like an H&N Field Target Trophy ripoff, more or less. But look at that. The center to center here is like, you know, 1/8 of an inch. It's about 1/8 of an inch. That's incredible. This Dominator is incredibly accurate with these pellets. Okay, now let's get to the mid-range accuracy, the 25-yard test. Now about this test, I shot 2 groups as fast as I possibly could because I recorded the 50-yard testing first, and my battery was almost dead by the time I got around to recording 25-yard, so I went fast. This group that I recorded was, I'm sure you could do better, we'll put it that way. And these pellets that I'm shooting are right out of the tin. They're not sorted, they're not weighed, they're not washed or anything like that. They're fresh out of the tin pellets, and this is the kind of accuracy we're getting out of this rifle. Okay guys, this is the aftermath of the 25-yard accuracy testing. Oh, I buggered this. That's actually a rip, but this should have all been one group right here. That's my fault. This is the best group right here. 5 shots, center to center of about 1/4 of an inch. 0.259, call it. That's 5 shots. 25 yards, Barracuda Hunter, 0.251 inches. That's a 1/4 inch group at 25 yards. This is an insanely accurate rifle. I can't stress that enough. This rifle is a pleasure to shoot, and this kind of accuracy is outstanding. Outstanding. This is I just can't say enough good about this rifle. I'm not a fanboy. I'm not sponsored. I'm telling you that as somebody who is merely reviewing this rifle, I have nothing invested in this. I'm just telling you that this is an outstanding rifle and you should get one, especially while they're on closeout at Hatsan. Okay, now that we're at the long range accuracy part, 50 yards, I must mention that the wind was supposed to be, I think, 6 mile an hour with 10 mile an hour gusts or something like that. It ended up that it was something like 10 or 12 mile an hour with like 20 mile an hour gusts or maybe more. And from the way we're looking at the target, the wind was blowing from left to right. And it did have an effect. I know it did. I did not account for it at all. So I just let it fall where they may. You know, again, this is, I haven't got to the surprise part of this yet. I'll tell you after this. But this is 50 yards with the H&N Barracuda Hunter. Alright guys, these are the results of the 50-yard testing. Believe it or not, it turned out that the Barracuda Hunter was the most accurate pellet in this rifle. Now, common size groups at 50 yards are going to be about an inch. I have a 0.89 inch here, 1.28 inch here, so a little under an inch there, a little over an inch here. And then same thing on this side. I've got a little over an inch, little over an inch. This is the group of the day. This one does not belong to the group. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is from trying to sight it in from a different place. But this, you'll see the video. I'll run the video of this group. This one doesn't go with it. But that's 0.79 inches, just a smidge over 3/4 of an inch. That is very accurate. I cannot stress enough. Now, it is a bit windy today. They were saying like 10 miles an hour. I'm gonna say it's probably more like 15, 20. I don't know if you can hear it gusting right now, but I would bet that with the right pellet selection and enough time, that you could get a 1/2 inch group at 50 yards out of this rifle. Nice calm day, you know, nice pellets all weighed the same, and you know, nice head size sorted and all that. You know, put a little bit of effort into it, and I bet you could get a 1/2 inch group out of this rifle. Now, this is with the Barracuda Hunter 18.21 grain. I'm out of 18 grain domes, so I would bet that like a JSB 1813 would be a little more accurate than this. But you know, the Barracuda Hunter, you know, about a 3/4 of an inch at 50 yards out of this rifle. That's impressive. That's, you know, that's very impressive, especially at this closeout price. You guys might want to act on that before you can't anymore. Okay, now I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I can shoot fairly well. So I'm sure that this rifle is more accurate than I am. This level of accuracy that we're getting is with tin pellets, right out of the tin, unsorted pellets. This accuracy is coming from, and even at 50 yards, this is a 9 foot-pound rifle at 50 yards. This thing has about 13 foot-pounds of energy at 25 yards and about 9 foot-pounds at 50. And now some people are saying that this isn't the best for hunting. I disagree. For anything, you know, for up to 10-15 yards, I would shoot a raccoon in the head with this. At anything up to, you know, 50 yards, I'd shoot a rabbit or a squirrel, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But that doesn't compare to like 30 foot-pound PCPs that get inch groups at 50 yards. This thing is right up there, if not exceeding those. And it is a mild Springer fixed barrel. Now, what's the surprise I wanted to tell you about here? Every single group that you saw here, I did not use the artillery hold. Not at all. It was rested right on these bags, just like you see it here. Actually, almost exactly, because the point of balance was right about at the front of the objective lens here, and I rested this right at the front of the front bag, and then just moved the rear bag accordingly. And that's how I shot all these groups. Now, I didn't, like if I shoot, you know, if I was shooting a 300 Win Mag or a 50 cal, you know, sniper rifle or something, I would pull that thing into my shoulder good, boy, you know what I mean? And I didn't do that with this. I just butted myself up to it, and, you know, was nice and easy with it. Pulled the trigger like I would any other powder burner or PCP or multi-pump or whatever. And this is the accuracy we're getting out of this rifle with unsorted pellets, you know, and half decent wind. And, you know, this isn't, I didn't have all day and night to practice this. I probably put maybe, you know, maybe six groups at 50 yards, and the best one is the one you saw. And then at 25 yards, I did 2 groups. It was all I had battery life to do, or I bet you I could have done better. But this rifle is insanely accurate. Insanely accurate. Now, that alone is reason enough to get one. Now, this is on closeout from Hatsan right now for $180. And in my opinion, you should get one. I'll go over some pros and cons in a minute here, but I would suggest you get one before you can't, because this thing is fantastic. It isn't perfect, but it is fantastic. And at 180 bucks, I don't think you can get a more accurate mid-powered Springer. Excuse me. I don't know of anything in that class. But at full price, excuse me, these were like $350. And I don't know that it wasn't a bad deal at that price either. But anyway you look at it, these are apparently being closed out for whatever reason, and you can get them for $1.80 at the Hatsan USA website right now. And I would if I were you. And like I said, I have nothing invested in this. I'm not trying to sell this. I'm just telling you about it. But anyway, what are some more pros about this rifle? It's 9.7 pounds, and that's without a scope. But it is, as heavy as that sounds, it is just ultimately handy and pointable, and I love it. It's comfortable. It just shoulders fantastically. It balances fantastically. It just wants to hold itself in place, and then it wants to just magically make the pellet appear where you wanted it, like it was magic. I'm telling you, that's the experience of shooting this rifle. Now, it has this adjustable stock too. Now this is a medium ring on here. It's not a high ring, and it's only a 40 millimeter objective. So if you had high rings on here, you'd probably jack this thing up, But where it is fine for me. But you can adjust it. The recoil is mild. I guess that shock absorber system works for some, to some degree. But it's a mild setup to begin with, The trigger's decent. I don't like that it has lateral play, back and forth like this, but after adjusting it, it is light in the first stage and obvious. It hits a solid wall. It breaks clean. I apologize, I don't have a trigger pull gauge. I'm trying to fix that, but my calibrated finger says it's about 3 pounds, and I have it adjusted as light as it'll go. And it's good, it's decent. If this were mine, I would lighten that some, but it's perfectly fine as is. You saw the results of the accuracy testing. This 11 millimeter and Weaver combo rail, I think, is pretty cool. You can put whatever you want on it, The build quality, I think, is fantastic. It is an absolutely well manufactured rifle. The rifling is deep and sharp and beautiful. The crown, and I am finicky about crowns. I do a lot of my own crowning, but this one is beautiful. It's symmetrical, even under decent magnification. There's no voids, no imperfections or anything like that. It's beautiful, and that's uncommon, Now, this was meant for a slightly higher price point, like the $350 price point. It's on closeout, like I said, so it's kind of a steal at $1.80. But that's what you would expect, in my opinion, for the more money, is better quality control, better machining. A sharp, beautiful, symmetrical crown. Things like that. And this rifle delivers that. It really does. Now the cons, there are cons. The first thing I thought about this rifle was this thing feels like a piece of crap. This synthetic stock is not the most impressive thing in the hand. While it is ultimately comfortable, I love it for comfort and use, and it's already 9.7 pounds. I don't know if I would want a wood stock on this if I was going to hunt with it, but it is thin and cheap feeling, to put it mildly, but it is very comfy. It's a snob issue, I think, more than a legitimate issue. Is, ew, this feels icky, but it's not. It is not icky. It's fantastic. And I'm a go, not a show kind of guy. So I can get over the way the stock feels a little cheap, but it does. Now, the safety I already pointed out, I don't like where it is. I don't like how it works. I think you should have to push it into fire, not pull it out. But anyway, you look at it, I don't like that my thumb barely makes it in there to do that. So I'm not thrilled with the safety. The rifle isn't moderated. It is not shrouded or moderated in any way. And it's not obnoxiously loud, but it is that high-pitched crack of an air rifle that everybody knows. When you hear this, even though it's not that loud, you know darn well it was an air rifle. It just went crack in the backyard. Now, having said that, I did all the testing here in somebody's backyard, so it's not obscene or anything like that. So backyard friendly, this one is your call. It depends on your backyard, I guess. Now, the biggest complaint that I have about this rifle and Hatsan as a company, because they have to be aware of this, and this was mentioned by somebody else, so I'm going to go into this in decent detail. But when I first got this rifle, I took this sucker and I said, yeah, boy, I know what I'm doing here. And I look at this and I said, okay, bam, you cock that thing down there like that. And I had read the manual. I always read the manual first, so I knew what to do. I pull this thing down, here we go. And I says, I'm gonna cock this sucker. So I does this and I cock it, right? And there it stops. And I says to myself, boy, that sucker's cocked, because look, there it is, it's stopped. And so I take me a pellet and I stick a pellet in there. And then I know, because I read the manual, I'm a smart guy, that you press this here button and it'll release the lever and you can close this. So I press this here button and I'll be damned, nothing happens. I can't push the button. And then nor can I make this lever move. And I says to myself, man, this thing's broken. There's something wrong here, and I'm freaking out. So eventually I go through this whole ordeal. And what happens is I do get this to release, but I'm the kind of guy that with an unknown weapon, I still always have my hand on this lever. I don't trust these things, you know, really until I test them. But we'll get to that in a minute. Remember that I said test. But anyway, I'm here and I don't know what in the hell's going on, and I end up getting this to release. And what happens is it releases and the piston is under pressure. This rod is under pressure. It's a good thing I've got a hold of it. So it starts coming forward and it's pushing my hand forward, and so I get it and I let it up here. Now, that was bad, but it was lucky and it was fortunate because nothing bad happened and I learned something. Now, without explanation, I'm going to fix this problem. Okay? Now, the problem here is this is an anti-bear trap mechanism. What does that do? That stops the piston in this arm from slamming forward in the event that it was engaged and then something happens. The trigger is pulled, or for some other reason the sear disengages from the piston. This bear trap, anti-bear trap mechanism is designed to stop that piston from slamming forward, and consequently this arm slamming forward, because they're sort of connected. That's what it's designed to do. Now, when I took this rifle the first time, and I popped my little thingy, oops, it's free now, but I popped my thingy, and I grab it and pull it down, thinking I'm this macho man, you know, on one hand, oh, that was easy. And then now I can't do this, and I'm freaking out and everything. What happens is, what I did was I have just engaged the anti-bear trap mechanism. This is the thing that saves us. This is the thing that in the event something would happen that would stop this from slamming forward. So what you're basically doing is testing that thing, making sure it works. So that's good. You know it works. How do you fix it? you if you just grab this and pull harder, sometimes it won't work. But if you just grab it and sharply jerk down, then it will catch. It will engage the sear, and then you can easily release it, and there's no more problem. Now, is that an issue? Kind of, yes, because it is not addressed in the owner's manual. It only happened to me the one time. I figured it out and haven't had an issue since. And I now know I use 2 hands to cock it every time. And it's cocked right now. There's no pellet in it, but it is cocked, so I'm avoiding all this stuff. But I use 2 hands and then pull it the whole way down sharply, and it engages every single time. I haven't had an issue since. And considering all the benefits of the rifle, I can't say that's enough of a negative not to get one, especially at 180 bucks. But Hatsan has to have experienced this and should have said something about it in the owner's manual, in my opinion. I don't know if that has anything to do with why this is on closeout, but if so, it's a shame that you know, a little bit of ink in the owner's manual could have prevented that. But any way you look at it, I hope it's not enough reason that you don't buy one of these, because man, this thing is incredible. I wish it was mine. I do. I wish I had the money to buy one. I don't. Other than that, I can't think of much else to say. I hope I covered everything. I hope I wasn't too long-winded, and I hope that you enjoyed this review. Remember, you can check out allthingsairgun.com, and we have the All Things Airgun Facebook group, and there will be a lot more coming soon. Thanks for watching.